Going to the IMs. Iowa Ryan, my kid's high school had a very large Rudy Giuliani quote on their wall. It was a quote about doing the right thing even when no one is watching. And sadly, it was never vandalized. Rudy Giuliani, ladies and gentlemen. Here, let's play Rudy first, and then we will give Ruby Friedman the final word.
How do you finance something like how much Rudy has to pay?
Let's just go, let's listen to Rudy Giuliani first. Then we'll ultimately go to his Cameo page to work this out. But here is Rudy Giuliani. When his lawyer was making final arguments, and the plaintiffs originally sought, I think it was $43 million each. I think it was $43 million each, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right.
His lawyer said, this would, of course, completely break and destroy Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, no.
You look back on these things and you think, maybe we could have done that. It would have been a bargain because the jury ultimately found that he owed him $148 million.
And let's be clear about like what he did. He defamed these two poll workers and mother and daughter duo by using footage of what was reportedly them passing each other mints. Just going to let that set in for a second, and said that they were actually USB drives that were being passed around like vials of heroin and cocaine.
Here is Rudy Giuliani after finding out that he owes $148 million. Now, if I'm his security behind him, I'm looking at each other going like, do you think we're going to get paid?
There's very little I can say right now. I have to analyze this. Obviously, possibly we'll move for a new trial. Certainly we'll appeal. The absurdity of the number merely underscores.
Pause it for 1 second. Now, you'll notice that there's somebody behind Rudy Giuliani with a sign that apparently his lawyer is trying to hide with a briefcase. We don't know what that sign was, do we?
No, it's something about the coup, about January 6th. I just don't know the exact language. Do you see this guy's hair, though, in the left side behind?
Yeah, no, he's got like a military, like a stylish military cut. But let me help Rudy Giuliani out. Now, listen, I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. I can analyze what this ruling means. It means that you are broke.
I got to dig into the details.
I got to dig into it. It was like, off the top of my head, I was okay if it was $80 million, but 148.
But I found out that it is the 5-year max contract that was given to Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets in 2018.
I need to get with my people to see if there's any way I can hide what little money I have left, and of course, I don't know how I mean,
might not be able to go out this weekend, guys.
And to be clear, this is a civil case. There's no, he can't go to any prosecutor and go like, okay, guess what? I'm ready to talk about how Donald Trump did everything. Yeah. There's no, that's what he's got to analyze. How am I going to deal with this? Go ahead.
The absurdity of the number merely underscores the absurdity of the entire proceeding, where I've not been allowed to offer one single piece of evidence in defense, of which I have a lot. So I am quite confident.
Can you pause it, actually? Because I read about this. He said he had all of this evidence and he had ample opportunity to present it. And then when he said I had all of this evidence to the judge, they were like, you missed the window to present the evidence. So methinks that
because he
might not have the evidence.
Didn't he?
Or he's a horrible lawyer. Right. And as a lawyer himself, who's been accusing Fani Willis in Georgia on the criminal side of things of being this terrible lawyer, a good lawyer would probably remember to put all this incredible evidence into the hands of the judge.
Note to self, should present evidence. Go ahead.
Which I have a lot. So I am quite confident when this case gets before a fair tribunal, it'll be reversed so quickly, it'll make your head spin. And the absurd number that just came in will help that, actually.
Why did you choose not to testify?
Why do you think it was unfair? You say it was an unfair tribunal. Why do you think it was unfair?
We gotta go, sir. Let's go. I cannot go into the details. I didn't testify because the judge made it clear that if I made any mistake or did anything wrong, she was considering contempt. And this judge does have a reputation for putting people in jail. And I thought, honestly, it wouldn't do any good.
Do you still believe that what you said about these two women?
I wonder if that could have been an excuse when he was attorney general. I'm not going to give him.
Yeah.
Not going to participate in this because he puts people to jail.
I mean, they're being really strict about all the rules of court and stuff, so I figured I might as well just not even try.
This guy is like, honestly, I think he's going home and he's just trying to figure out like where is there any extradition? Like, well, who doesn't have an extradition treaty? But let's just listen a little bit more.
It wouldn't do any good.
Do you still believe that what you said about these two women in the wake of the 2020 election was truthful?
Do you still believe these
Do you
claims?
still believe those comments that you made?
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that my comments were made and they were supportable and are supportable today.
Still.
I just did not have an opportunity to present the evidence that we offered. Did you notice we were not allowed to put in one piece of evidence in defense? Do you also realize that liability is not based on any trial? Liability is based on her disagreement with me on discovery, which is absurd.
Why didn't you take the stand?
Because I believe the judge was threatening me with the strong possibility that I'd be held in contempt or that I'd even be put in jail. So it didn't seem like it was going to do much to persuade anybody, and it could give her what she seemed to be threatening.
Did you believe the women's testimony?
All the judges.
I gotta say, if I am on the hook for $100+ million, I'm gonna take the stand, even if they throw me in jail for a little bit.
Yeah, and I would remember to put some things into evidence too. Just
have a
I'd be
law
on my
background?
P's and Q's to not have to pay tens of millions of dollars if I thought that were the case. I hope that the women are able to see some of that money.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at least a good
$10,000 of it, please.
at least a good amount of it.
How much do you think they could honestly see?
I don't know. There's going to be an appeal, and then we'll get a notion. And it's really more a question of like, how much of any future earnings will he have will be garnished. Let's hear first from Ruby Freeman, who was one of those Georgia election workers, and then we will give you an idea of how Rudy Giuliani may be paying some of this back.
For now, I want people to understand this. Money will never solve all of my problems. I can never move back into the house that I called home. I will always have to be careful about where I go and who I choose to share my name with. I miss my home, I miss my neighbors, and I miss my name. I've heard some of you. Don't be sad for me. Don't waste your time being angry at those who did this to me and my daughter. We are more than conquerors. Pray for us as we continue to fight the good fight of faith. I tell my attorneys often, my friends say that God knew who to give this assignment to, because if it had been them, they wouldn't have been able to go through this.
It's couldn't be happier that this was the verdict, and hope that on appeal that I don't think it's possible. But on appeal, it would be nice if they just bumped it up 10%.
Yeah. It's just kind of 10% higher.
Here is how Rudy Giuliani, one mechanism in which Rudy Giuliani could pay off this $148 million verdict. Now, it's going to involve some work, but look, you can't just dilly-dally.
Pull yourself
if
up
there's
by your bootstraps.
Anybody who's any more industrious than Rudy Giuliani, I don't know who that is. Well, I do, but I mean... and here he is. Do we have it? Put the link up to his Cameo page, please.
This is most Real Housewives I see have like $175, $200, $150,
George Santos had to move his from $250 to $500.
Yeah, a pop.
Now here is Giuliani. Now, to be fair, he has suspended his account for the moment, temporarily unavailable. But it was only $20 a pop. And here's the thing, and you got to appreciate this. Now, just to be clear, $28 a pop. I did the math.
20.
Sorry, $20 to make up 148 million. It's actually very easy math. 7,400,000. Is that right? Do I have that right?
7,000,000. Well, I would also caution that Cameo takes a 25% cut, so you'll have to add another 25% onto that.
Ooh, that's going to be rougher for my math. So maybe he could do 25.
Okay, so
You can up his price. But here, man, check this out though. This is a deal, folks. Look at number 2. Look at how long it is. 6 minutes. 6 minutes.
he's going to have to
Press
cut
the,
that down.
He's doing 4-minute
Congratulations
cameos.
on your upcoming marriage.
Oh.
I think that this is one of the most wonderful days you're going to have in your whole life. It is.
And
in
he should
fact,
know. He had that
marriage
day
is
multiple times, didn't he?
kind of contract, the first kind of human
Is it with your cousin?
relationship where people made promises to each other.
That they broke.
And it's the core really, I think, of our civilization.
Pause it for 1
Marriage,
second. I
family.
just want to remind everybody, I can't remember, and to be fair, I probably should have looked this up. I'm doing this from memory, but Rudy Giuliani left, I think it was his second wife, to have an affair, or maybe it was his first wife, to have an affair with a right-wing book publisher in the apartment set aside for workers who were digging out from the pile at 9/11. Now, one of the reasons that was reported back in the day why the New York City Emergency Response HQ, the sort of command center, was situated in World Trade Center 7, which also fell. Some people say it was pulled, or there was a massive storage of diesel fuel in there, from what I understand. It was reported that the reason why it was placed there, even though, and it may have been Bratton at the time when this thing was being built, I can't remember, said this should be in Brooklyn. Bless you. The reason why it was situated there is because Giuliani needed a bachelor's pad, because this is where he would have meetings with friends after hours who he didn't want to.
There's an emergency with my tits.
Exactly.
I need to grab them.
Yes, and just to be fair to Giuliani, because I don't want you to get credit for that. That was his supposedly what he said to someone who was working for him.
So he's 79 years old. How many minutes are in a year? I'm seeing 525,600. So how many?
525.
Oh, you're asking how many minutes can he spare on these cameos? Because you can't do 6-minute ones. If he's
No.
going to do 7 million, 8 million cameos, let's just
He's a
raise
legal
it
mind, not an
25.
economics
There's
one.
no way he's going to be able to do all.
I mean, he needs to make it under a minute. He can't sleep. He doesn't have that many years left on Earth, so it's either it's sleeping and cameo time for Rudy Giuliani. That's all he's got.